Hi, my name is Marcia Kish. I'm a blended learning expert helping teachers just like you getting ready for the fall. As I'm working with more and more school districts, we're realizing that we're going to be either virtually learning, hybrid learning, or a social distancing classroom. Of course, the last thing we want to do is for students to be on a computer for 8 hours a day. So I have come up with a little bit of a kind of an idea to send home with your students to help promote those hands-on learning opportunities, even if in a virtual environment. So what I have done is I went and purchased a gallon bag, okay? And inside of the gallon bag are items that I'm going to send home with the students so that when I'm teaching about a topic or an idea virtually or in a hybrid environment, the students at home or in my classroom can participate and show their understanding of those concepts. This bag total cost was about $8. I know, some of you have 120 kids. $8 times 120, that's a lot. But don't forget, you can ask the students to bring them in or find it around their house. You can ask for donations. Just think outside the box. This is my suggested bag of ideas that you can use. Pick and choose what works best for you. So let's get started with what I would send home for their hands-on learning opportunities that will align to my lessons. Number one, the first thing I'm going to pull out of my plastic bag is a ruler. Oh my goodness. A 25-cent ruler goes a long way. You can do skip counting. You can do positive and negative numbers. You can use it for art projects. You can use it for all different kinds of things. Using a ruler is a great way to really get those hands-on learning opportunities for the students. So definitely grab a ruler, put it in the bag because you can use all kinds of things. And believe it or not, when I was working with my nieces and nephews this summer, I couldn't believe how many of them didn't have a ruler at home. So a ruler is definitely one thing you would add into the bag. The next thing is when I went to the dollar store, I found dry erase boards. Dry erase boards are an easy way for kids to showcase their understanding of the concepts or ideas. In a virtual environment, you can quickly have them write their answer down, showcase it, and you can see who understands that concept. So I like these dry erase boards. They were 50 cents at the dollar store. I got them 2 for $1, front and back. If you don't want to go to the dollar store and you need to think about a little bit cheaper and expensive way, go to Home Depot or Lowe's, take a shower board and cut it into 4x6 squares to put those right inside of the bag. They will do it for you on site with a charge fee of cutting the boards, but it's worth it. It will work for the time being. So dry erase boards would definitely be something I would send home with my students or in that social distancing classroom environment. And since I'm sending home a dry erase board, I need to send home a dry erase marker. I like these dry erase markers. I got them at Staples, and the reason why I like it, it's got a fine point tip to it. Now, as a teacher, this wouldn't be something I would draw on the big dry erase board, but as a student, I'm able to showcase my understanding of the math problems right there on the board. And you can quickly see, and it's not taking up a lot of space, how the students would solve the problem. So, of course, I would have those dry erase boards set up where with the small tip marker, that way the kids can draw, showcase what they're doing, then either A, snap a photo of it, or 2, you can hold it up during your virtual workshops. Their own personalized dry erase marker. I also put tape around it just so I would know. All right, the next thing that I would add in would be a deck of cards. I think a deck of cards would be a great way to showcase their understanding. Do you know how many different activities you could do with a deck of cards? If you don't know, just go to Pinterest and put deck of cards and then the topic that you're learning about, integers, place value, point of view, and somebody out there has created an activity that goes along with a deck of cards. One of the great examples I like to use for my middle school is, let's say I have positive numbers and negative numbers. So the face cards are 10. This is a negative 10 and a positive 3. My answer would be, hopefully you said negative 7. So a deck of cards is definitely something that I would put inside of the bag just because I can do a lot of different activities with it. We can do all different kinds of ways of grouping the students based off what if they picked a black card or a red card. So definitely something I would add to the bag. Something else that I would put inside of the plastic bag. Now this isn't mandatory or this isn't truly necessary, but for me it's more about a time management issue. When students are learning at home, we have to really be cognitive of how much time they're spending on the different activities. So I would put it in a sand timer. This sand timer is a 10-minute sand timer, and I would add it to the bag so that way the students knew how much time they need to do for sustained reading, how much time they need to do for the different math problems, if they're taking a test. Yes, they can set a timer on their computer, but there's something about it when they have that visual cue of how much time is left. They do work a little bit harder for you, and they get it done within that time frame. So I would definitely think about sand timers as just a way to keep them motivated and to keep working. Something else I would do is I would put in a pack of Post-it notes. Yes, Post-it notes are so user-friendly. Sequencing of events. I could put it together where they're doing an exit ticket and they're writing it out on a Post-it note. If they're in my classroom in a social distancing environment, I could have them leave that exit ticket by the door. Then I go get the Post-it note app on my phone. Yep, there's a Post-it note app. And then I could take a photo of their exit tickets and then regroup the kids based off of what they are learning. So the Post-it note app is a game changer. One, it's going to keep us healthy and safe because we don't have to be touching everybody's Post-it notes. But two, I can regroup, share out those ideas. Post-it notes, definitely a must inside of the bag of supplies to go home. Something else that I would put inside of the bag is when I was at the dollar store, I found the cutest little Jenga pieces. I love these little Jenga pieces. The Jenga pieces are small little blocks, and I just went through and numbered them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the students play a game of Jenga at home or virtually with their partners. Yep, you can still do Jenga virtually. So what they're going to do is they're going to set up a Jenga set. That's what I'm doing right now. I know you can't see it, but I'm going to show you here in a second. I'm going to tell the students, all right, for this assignment, for this activity, set up your Jenga pieces. Then I'm going to put them into a Zoom breakout room. Inside of the Zoom breakout room, they're going to play a game of Jenga virtually. So I pulled out number 10. So together the students had to answer or complete task card 10 inside of that small group. Then I'm going to build my tower. Then I'm going to have my partner, they're going to pull out a number. If it's number 10, of course, they just get to stack it and they get to pull out another number. But the idea is that together as a team, they're going to see how high they can build their Jenga set while answering questions. Something else I love about this Jenga set, it's building blocks. I can have the kids build, but this is a Rube Goldberg activity in the making. But still, small little Jenga piece, I paid $1 for this Jenga set. But I didn't send home the whole set with every student. I gave them half the set. So half of the Jenga pieces in a bag would go home with the students. Next on my list, Play-Doh. I love Play-Doh, but Play-Doh creeps me out even before coronavirus. The thought of having the students touching the Play-Doh and molding the Play-Doh, kind of like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Now, in a virtual environment, I'm going to send home a tiny tub of Play-Dohs that when they're talking about characteristics or geographic locations, the students will be able to go in and mold that with their own individual Play-Doh. If they're in a social distancing classroom, they'll have their own set of Play-Doh in the classroom that they can use. And of course, it's their Play-Doh. At the end of the year, we can toss it and move on. So Play-Doh is definitely something I would add to the bag. And I just bought the party supply pack. That way there's just the 25 little tiny tubs, and I didn't pay that much for it. The next thing I would add inside of the bag of supplies would be 2 dice. Yep. 1, students are becoming really good about figuring out this whole virtual environment. There is a website called Reverse Google Search. And Reverse Google Search is going to allow students to take a photo of the worksheet that you provide to them, and they'll get the answers. Even for graphics, like if I'm having them do parts of a cell, they could take a photo of the cell, and they'll give them the answers for that worksheet. So to kind of outwit, outsmart, outplay, I know, kind of a little bit of a survivor term there, I'm going to have the students roll. And what they're going to do is this becomes now the dice on the floor. This now becomes their variables for math class. This now becomes you're going to roll a 4, and you have to label 5 different things or put 5 different parts onto it. So there's these things called roll-in chats that are really great, and also variables. Take a look. From K to 12, there are hundreds of ways to use dice in the classroom that tie right into your content. Search it. I know you'll find and be surprised at how many creative teachers out there have figured out ways to use dice to help engage your students. Speaking of dice, another one that I would put in as an alternative, something I might want to do, is dry erase dice. The students can write on top of the dice. They can play together virtually or on site, social distance, and they can be answering questions or they can be doing small little projects that go along with your content. I love these dry erase dice. I found them at Walmart, and I just think it's a great way for kids to take a little bit of ownership of their learning by coming up with what they want to do for their project. Dry erase dice, definitely something I would consider putting inside of the bag. Last but not least, I'm going to put inside of the bag to go home Wiki Sticks. Yep, Wiki Sticks. Wiki Sticks are wax-covered pipe cleaners. These wax-covered pipe cleaners are allowing students to create, collaborate, to highlight, and they're reusable over and over again. Inside of the bag, I would put 2 of the packs of Wiki Sticks. Don't go to Amazon for this one. Go to wikisticks.com. Click on Restaurant Pack. And in Restaurant Pack, you can get 250 of these for $50. That way, you will be able to use these all year long. And again, you could send them home with the students, and it's going to be their own individual interactive notebook, wax-covered pipe cleaners that they can use for their project. So, here we go. We're filling back up the bag. Wiki Sticks, dry erase dice, PlayDoh, a set of dice, Jenga, half the set of Jenga. We have Post-it notes. Don't forget those Post-it notes. A deck of cards, a timer, dry erase marker, dry erase board, and then last but not least, a ruler. All of these things can now become ways for students to engage with the content without always having to look at a screen. It's going to be useful. You can come up with projects and you can say, pull out your Jenga pieces, and everybody knows they have a set of Jenga pieces. Take a look at this, think about it as a team, come up with ways that you can set this up. Don't forget, you can definitely ask for donations from parents, from businesses. I know there's a lot of people out there that are looking to help support classroom education, especially at this time. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My name is Marcia Kish, and I am definitely more than willing to do a workshop on you on other ways to help with student engagement. Thanks, guys, for joining in. We'll see you soon.